A major shakeup at the FBI to tell you about. The president has just tapped Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey to be the Bureau's co-deputy director, alongside former right-wing podcast host Dan Bongino, who was appointed back in February. The New York Times writes that Bailey's appointment bewildered many current and former FBI agents who said they never had heard of a co-deputy director. Joining me here, Christopher O'Leary, former FBI counterterrorism official and MSNBC national security and intelligence analyst. You were at the Bureau for many years. Did you ever hear of a co-deputy director, and what's your reaction?
So it's not a thing. I've never heard of one because it never existed. In the history of the FBI, that position has always been reserved for a senior special agent. And the reason being, that individual, he or she, it's always been a he, but certainly could become a she, and there was expectations it was going to be, is a senior tactical, operational, and investigative advisor to the director. So compare it to a senior...
Long experience within the FBI, bottom line.
Great comparison is a sergeant major in the Marine Corps or Army or Master Chief of the Navy. You're a senior enlisted advisor to the commander. With Dan Bongino, he didn't possess that background. In fairness to him, he had some operational experience, brief time in the NYPD, and then as a Secret Service agent. But that time was limited to protective security for dignitaries, and not really what the FBI does. So his suitability was in question. And now bringing the Attorney General in from Missouri certainly begs the question, what qualifications does he have?
Well, he has no FBI experience. Obviously, neither did Bongino, as you just pointed out, which means the FBI now has two deputy directors with no prior experience within the agency. I think a lot of people probably don't know what a deputy director does. So what do they do, and what is the impact of that? I'm curious what your conversations have been like with folks who are still on the inside.
Yeah, I think you captured it. People are bewildered within the FBI and former agents who've been out for a while or who just fired last week, say. There's been quite a few that have been forced to depart. He lacks the investigative background and the operational experience. He also has very limited leadership experience. Now, he did lead soldiers in Iraq on 2 tours, and that should be noted, but he hasn't led large organizations, so it will be a challenge. What you would want is somebody in that position who would be complementary to the director, because Kash Patel lacks any of the experience needed to be director, so having a strong deputy director would have been the right thing to do to balance off his deficiencies. There were plenty of candidates within the FBI which would have been ideal for that. Some were moving up the ranks, none were partisan, so they certainly could have balanced things out and created some legitimacy within the FBI and outside. They chose not to do that, and the concern is that they've appointed a hyper-partisan crony that is going to drive the FBI into the wrong direction.
Can we talk about the long-term impact of this? Because I'm wondering, obviously, if you've been working at the FBI your entire professional life, if this is something you have dedicated yourself to, and you're someone with a level of ambition who believes that they are should be in line, at least under consideration for a higher job, what does this do to all those folks who want to spend their careers at the FBI?
Well, I think there's 2 things. I think for those who would want to work hard to try to promote and get in a leadership position, your head's going to be on the chopping block if you do that right now. And the last 6 months has shown us that. So people are kind of keeping their head down and trying to be the gray man, not to be noticed. So you're going to get mediocrity out of the workforce, really not what you want. But then number 2, you have anybody who can retire is retiring. And then you have tons of mid-career professionals wondering if they have another decade ahead of them. So the dedication to national service does have a limit to some people, and if they don't think they can effectively serve, they will leave. And so what's then the impact on national security? While the focus of this administration and Kash Patel is violent crime, well, the FBI does have a role in violent crime, but it's also the lead in counterterrorism, counterespionage and counterintelligence, cyber, and a whole host of other things which are going to be put on the back burner while we cull the ranks and appoint unqualified people for these positions.
Christopher O'Leary, it's always good to have you here. Thank you.